Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the Friday Experience. My name is Pastor Lawrence DeFront. I will be your host for the day. First off, let me know where you are listening from. I like to know where the audience is listening from. I had intentions of having a guest on the show today. Unfortunately, that was not able to happen. And so everything is good. God is good. Continue to pray for all those who participate in the Friday Experience. I want to thank you all for joining me. Today, we're going to talk about masculine and feminine energy. I love Natalie. Natalie's in the house. She said, "My house." That's right. Watching from the comfort of your home. That is the beauty of technology. We're going to talk a little bit today about energy. I don't have one Bible text to build from. I'll be referencing certain Bible texts, primarily Genesis, because there's so much in Genesis, but then kind of interpreting, like reinterpreting certain things within the Bible with the understanding of energy. Before we get into that, if you have not, yet signed up for our text group, please go and sign up for our text group. Text LSMin to 24251. We got Canada in the house. We got Jersey in the house. Man, that's what's up. We are all over the place on this Friday. Also, if you want to donate to the ministry, feel free to Cash App, or you can go to the website. Sorry, y'all know I can't multitask, and I was supposed to do this while the timer was going off, but I failed. I failed, man. Got people listening in Texas. John, it's good to see you, my brother. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about masculine and feminine energy. What I want to do is I want to make energy simple. There's a lot of information out there about energy, good information, bad information, misinformation. And I just want to simplify it as best as possible. Oh, my mom's on the line. This is perfect. I want to simplify it as best as possible, primarily because there seems to be a whole lot of fear when we talk about energy, especially from the Christian community. A lot of people are afraid of having this talk about energy, but there's nothing evil about energy. And I'll be honest, nobody really believes energy is evil. Nobody. If you are, the fact that you're tuned in right now means that you don't believe energy is evil. It takes energy to be able to be on your phone or on your laptop. It takes energy for you to live. Like when we eat food, food is what we use as humans. We take the food, we convert it into energy, essentially, nutrients, just another form of energy, carbs, another form of energy, fats, another form of energy, amino acids, all this stuff is energy. The plants use photosynthesis, right? They get their energy from the sun. We get our energy from the sun, or we get energy from the sun. As humans, we get energy from a variety of things. And so when dealing with masculine and feminine energy, ultimately, those are the two categories that most energy falls under. And it's to express how the energy works, all right? Because all energy does not work the same. I think we kind of all know that, right? Like water and fire, they don't work the same. They're very, very different. One is not stronger than the other. It's not a matter of strength. It's a matter of character, a matter of properties. It's how they function. It's description, really, right? And so fire would be an example of masculine energy. Water would be an example of feminine energy. Air would be an example of feminine energy. Ground, earth would be an example of masculine energy, which is kind of ironic because the earth itself is feminine. And so, but I'm gonna try to make all that plain. I want to talk about it. Most of us are familiar with the text. One of my favorite texts, I go back to it all the time. It reminds me of who we actually are. It's in Genesis chapter 1. It said, God created them male and female. Well, he created him, male and female, he created them, right? And the idea of the male and female was to illustrate the image of God. And so what we learned is that God is both male and female. Well, that is not on a physical level alone, right? First off, hopefully by now we all know God is not physical. And so if we're dealing with the image of God, especially in the physical, it still has to have some spiritual uh, a message, something connected back to the spirit in order for it to even begin to resemble who God is. And so this might end up being a series. I'm going to be honest with you. And so when you're dealing with masculine and feminine energy, what you're dealing with are pretty much the ancients would use these illustrations to express all energy. When you get a little more advanced, there are certain things that might be considered neutral, or even certain things that might be considered both, going back and forth from masculine and feminine. But in the very beginning, for the most part, all forms of energy can be broken down into masculine and feminine energy. And what the scriptures say is that both the masculine and the feminine energy makes up the image of God. And so one form of energy is not all that God is. So let's talk about masculine energy just for a little bit. I'm only dealing with it first because the first thing that kind of popped in my mind, but I'm trying to deal with both simultaneously so that there can be understanding. I'm not going to go too much into numerology, even though I do feel like numerology helps us in the understanding of energy, because when dealing with masculine and feminine energy, we're dealing with duality. But let me also say this before I break down the energy pieces in isolation. We are all human beings, all living creatures are living creatures in the sense of humans, animals, insects, etc. Because life is even beyond that scope. But all living all living creatures from that elementary perspective have both masculine and feminine energy in them, right? And so me, I'm a man. I have both masculine and feminine energy in me. My wife, who is a woman, has both masculine and feminine energy within her. You need both energies in order to have a balance within yourself, and so that you're not limited in your expression of God. And so what happens is you as an individual reflect God, and then you as a collective reflect God. The idea is that you would be able to look like God and be like God if you were all by yourself. But God's intent was that we would also come together, and in our relationship with one another, we would also look like God. In our interactions with all living things, God would be seen. And so if there was nothing else living and it was just you would still reflect God in some shape, form, or fashion. And the reason why I said all living things have both masculine and feminine in them is because consciousness is neither masculine or feminine. Consciousness would be one of the neutral realms. Consciousness is just the ability to be aware. Consciousness is your understanding of how reality works. Now, y'all know this is the Friday experience. This is a conversation. I need you to ask questions because I don't want to lose anybody. Whatever questions you have, please ask them, because that is the only way that I will know that I haven't lost you. Also, comment to let me know that you're getting it, because I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I also don't want to move too quickly. I want people to really understand what we're talking about. All right, with that said, so we're all conscious beings in the sense of we are aware, in a healthy, if we're healthy, we are aware of our existence, and that's what consciousness is. We were conscious even from the womb, even before we were born. We were conscious, and the truth is, science, they have no idea how soon we became conscious. And to make it even more complex, every cell in our being is conscious. That's why every cell is considered living. And so we are, in our individuality, we are the a microcosm of the macrocosm, if you will, in that within ourselves, we also reflect the harmonious balance of masculine and energy flowing just within ourselves. Because one cell within our body is living. We are a community of cells that make up one human being. Yeah, divine feminine here. Yes, yes, yes. And I am excited with the community, especially the Black community, getting back in touch with their energy and identifying their energy and owning it. I am excited about that. Are we discussing twin flames tonight? We might not discuss twin flames in that terminology tonight. We might not. It all depends on how the spirit moves. Y'all know we might get there. We might get there. We'll see. We'll see. So what is masculine energy? What is feminine energy? Well, we've already discussed that they are the energies in the physical and spiritual realm, in this dimension of reality, if you will, that reflect the image of God, that reflect life as a whole. And so they operate and they look very different. So masculine energy, the male principle, it represents forward movement, targets, direction. It represents assertiveness, hard. The warrior spirit is a masculine spirit. Competition is a masculine spirit. Stretching yourself forward, advancing, promotion, that is linear. Linear, that's a great word for masculine energy. Linear. It's narrow. Tunnel vision even is a very masculine trait. And it's funny because even as I'm explaining this, I am being reminded about how masculine I can be at times, right? Masculinity is one track mind. That's masculine. It's a keen focus, right? That's masculine energy. And so anytime you're operating from that perspective of focusness, moving forward, conquering, overcoming, bringing things to an end, that's masculine energy. It's saying, okay, let's resolve, like resolving, that's masculine energy. It is very forward moving, very direct. That is how the masculine works. And so as a man, as a masculine man, because remember, men and women both possess masculine and feminine energy. One energy tends to be the default dominant, right? That means then there are masculine men and there are masculine women. There are feminine men and there are feminine women, right? And so being a man doesn't automatically make you masculine, and being a woman doesn't automatically make you feminine. That may not be your default setting, and that's not bad. There is no law against that. There's nothing wrong with a masculine man being feminine default. There's nothing wrong with that. And let me also clear the air while we're talking about it. When I say a feminine man, that doesn't mean he's homosexual. Homosexuality is about being attracted to the same gender. So we're not so I just want to clear the air. A masculine woman doesn't mean she's a lesbian or homosexual. A masculine women, a lesbian is a woman who is attracted to women. I just want to clear the air, right? Because people tend to say things. John says you got to touch on the twin flames. I want to learn. Hey, John, you already know you got my number, so you can link up with me anytime. But yes, Anita, a tomboy would be something like a masculine woman. But let me also, I want to also make this clear, right? What makes us unique is where we fall in the spectrum. So even as a masculine man, masculinity is there's a spectrum of things that will make masculinity what it is. And so we can fall anywhere within that spectrum. Same thing with femininity. There's a spectrum of things that make us feminine. So even though you might be a tomboy, you might still be extremely feminine in a lot of things. I know women who some would deem as tomboys, but they're not really tomboys. They just like sports, but they're actually very girly, what we would call girly. They're actually very girly in their default. They just happen to be the girly girl that likes to play sports or likes to shoot guns or whatever, likes to wear sneakers. I know feminine women who are sneakerheads, right? And so that doesn't make them masculine because they like sneakers. And so I want to say that because the stereotypes can sometimes get in the way of our understanding of energy, and the stereotypes can also cause us to mislabel our default energy as well as the default energy in other people. And so I want to be able to move beyond the stereotypes. So I have to expose them. Okay, because I play Mortal Kombat and bake cakes. Exactly. Most people don't know what to do with me. I'm an enigma of sorts. The reality is we all are to some degree, and I'm gonna put your comment back up because I like what you said. Most people don't know what to do with me. It's keen because we still have to get to know one another as individuals. We cannot, because the problem is when we say things like women do this and men do that. Yes, in order to have conversation, we have to speak generally. I understand that, and I even practice that. But when it starts to come to putting things into practice, we have to get to know each other as the individuals that we are. Because assuming that any one of us falls on any part of the spectrum would be detrimental to relationship, right? I'm gonna say that again. Assuming. So if you assume because I'm a man and she's a woman, she's gonna cry and I'm gonna whatever, like whatever that assumptions that we create in our minds, it puts us in a detrimental space for relationship. However, understanding how energy works allows us to do at least two things. One, to recognize that energy when it's manifest, and two, to call on that energy when it needs to manifest. This is really, I really just summed up in these two lines. I just summed up ancient spirituality, indigenous spirituality. I literally just summed it up in those two lines. Recognizing the energy when it manifests, and then calling on the energy when it needs to be manifest. So now, with that being said, let me deal with men for just a little bit. And I'm about to get on men just for a little bit. If this ends up being the whole experience, I apologize. That's not my intention, but I need to get on my men just for a little bit. We need men to embrace masculinity again. We're going to talk about so-called toxic masculinity. We're going to talk about that because that's important for the full understanding. But we need men to embrace masculinity again. Part of the reason why our world is being turned upside down is because there is a almost like a scarcity in men being masculine. And what has been happening because of the lack of men embracing masculinity, our women have to both be masculine and feminine. Because I need to make this abundantly clear. Our women are so strong, our women are so powerful that they are able to shift on command when necessary to create the balance when men fall short. The problem is our women are not supposed to be both masculine and feminine, and they are getting tired. I am seeing it across communities, but because I am a part of the so-called Black community, I am recognizing how my Black women are they're exhausted because it is as if they have to do everything on their own. And I want to be clear, this is an agenda of the enemy to tire out our women because they understand that women, feminine energy, represents the life force. Feminine energy represents nurturing and positive experience as a whole. They understand that if they can exhaust the source of feminine energy, then they can keep us in a suppressive state. Because at the end of the day, what feminine energy shifts atmospheres. Let me say that. I'm gonna say it again. Feminine energy shifts atmospheres. Masculine energy directs atmospheres. And so the way that we work together is, if you want a happy home, let's use a home. Let's use a home. If you want a happy home, you will never have a happy home. You will never have a happy home if your woman is not happy. I'm saying it plain. Impossible. The goddess that is woman will consume the space because that is her gift to this dimension. Women, it is not a curse. Your energy being powerful and captivating and overwhelming, that is not a curse. That is a gift from the Most High, because the Most High's energy is captivating and overwhelming. Every time the Most High showed up, they bowed their face. Every time the Most High showed up, the space would shift. And a lot of men want to think that that's what men do. Men don't do that. Men direct the energy. Men say happiness is going to go forward this way. Women say happiness is going to feel this way. So feminine energy is represented by circular energy, cycles, cyclical energy, right? The cycles, it is the feeling. Of feminine energy is about the experience, the process. That's feminine energy. The process, the quality of the process. And so while men are saying we're going to go forward, women, and okay, let me say this. I'm sorry that I had to keep stopping my thought, but I just want to make sure that I'm clear. When I say men and women, from this point forward, I'm talking about energy. When I say man, I'm talking about masculine energy. When I say woman, I'm talking about feminine energy. I'm saying man and women because it's easier, guys. I'm being lazy, okay? It's easier. And for those of you who are just tuning in, I just look, because saying masculine energy is a lot of words, right? Feminine energy is a lot of words. So I'm cutting it short by saying man and woman because it's easier, all right? I've already discussed how you can have feminine men and you can have masculine women. And so I am not trying to dismiss the fact that some women are masculine by default and they're masculine by conditioning. Some men are feminine by default and they're also feminine by conditioning. And so I don't want to dismiss that, but for the sake of explaining and teaching how the energies work, I'm going to short it to just man and woman. All right, I see a question. Does feminism play a role in women being taught to be both masculine and feminine at the same time? You're asking, you trying to get me in trouble, brother, but no, it's a good question. It's a good question. Feminists are not. You asked if they play a role. To answer your question, yes, they do play a role. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna keep it 100, keep it 1,000. Feminists play a role in women being both masculine and feminine at the same time. But let me say this, because I want to make it abundantly clear. They're not the source. We cannot say it's the feminist fault that our women are like that, or it's the feminist movement that made women masculine. No. Women had to rise up and be their own masculine because men were not using their masculine energy properly. Men were and are being very toxic with their masculine energy, meaning they were using their direction, their focus, their narrow-mindedness, their hardness. They were using it to abuse women and not protect women. They were using it so that they can get satisfied temporarily, but not fulfillment permanently. And a lot of our men were not taught how to use their masculinity to be of benefit. They were only taught how to be dogs. But that's no excuse, because once you become a grown man, it becomes your responsibility to thrive and become the best man that you can be. So I will make no excuses for the brothers who have been slacking, and I will not be upset at women who have to protect themselves because men are not protecting them. And so yes, the feminist movement played a role in saying that they don't need a man, but them saying they don't need a man is a logical response when men are doing nothing but being abusive. If women were abusing us the way we were abusing them, many of us would say we don't need no women. We would say that immediately. And so no, I'm not mad. I'm not going to blame them in any way. I will say that it was necessary because of the conditions of society globally. Right, globally, because and y'all about to take me to some space that might get some Christians nervous. I'm trying to cater to the audience as a whole. But we moved into an era where masculine energy was being elevated higher than it should have been. See, masculine energy shouldn't be elevated higher above feminine energy, and feminine energy shouldn't be elevated higher than masculine energy. It was supposed to be a balance of both energies, which would have produced the image of God, right? The balance, the harmony. You cannot have harmony with at least two different notes. Harmony says we're different, but we work great together, right? And so yes, they had to do what they had to do. Women had to do what they had to do because men were refusing to step up, and men still are refusing to step up. And I get it, men have a lot of trauma work to do, and that's the thing about being masculine and toxic. Some of the healing that masculine men need comes from them tapping into their feminine. I wasn't even planning on going there, but we here, right? Hold on, let me read the comment. True, my experience is that if a man is not in touch with his divine masculinity, but a woman is in union with her energy, men get intimidated, yep, and their insecurities are more pronounced. Absolutely facts. 100% facts. God recognized God, right? Their divinity recognizes divinity. Righteousness recognizes righteousness. In the streets, we used to say real recognize real. And so if you're not in tune with the God in you, you can never respect the goddess in the woman, right? Ever. And the terms God and goddess they're not hierarchies of divinity. They are the representation of masculine and feminine divinity. And I hope y'all not getting y'all not feeling the type of way, because we are spiritual beings, right? And so we are divine beings. Especially look, if you believe in the Messiah, if you believe in Jesus Christ, if you believe in the one who is called Jesus Christ, and you believe you have received the Holy Spirit, then you also believe, then at least you should believe, that you are a child of God. Say it with me. I am a child of God. And if I am a child of God, then I have to be a divine being, because Jesus said that which is born of flesh is what? Flesh. That which is born of spirit is what? Spirit. And he said those who will enter the kingdom must be born of the what? The Spirit. You have to be a divine You have to be a divine being to enter a divine kingdom. And so, yeah, I know the white man tried to convince you that, ain't nobody divine but God. God, we call him the most high because there's no one higher than God. But we are high too. We were made just a little less than Elohim. That's what Psalm 8 says, right? So let me get off that bag before I got people tripping because they don't understand. It says, yep, which usually results in the man gaslighting, talking down, and attempting to get the woman to dim herself, confidence, worth, light, so he can feel equal, step up, or stay out of her life. That is an absolute fact. It's cultural. What is feminine and what's masculine? Black, darker skinned women have always been seen as Oh, you're tapping into something, Ebony. Have always been seen as masculine in America. This is very layered. You're tapping into something right there, Ebony. I wanna build on what Ebony just said because that's key right there. Because the U.S. in particular fears dark skin because dark skin is a reminder of the original man and woman. And so they treat dark-skinned women like they're masculine, forcing the dark-skinned woman to use her masculine in defense of herself, which by God's grace she would never have to do if men would step up and defend her. Y'all probably not gonna like this because this is really like I'm there right now, right? If men defended women like they should, especially dark-skinned women, because dark-skinned is feared. The dark-skinned woman is the most dangerous of us all, not only because she's a woman, but because she's a dark-skinned woman. She is representing the original. She is representing what Eve would have looked like. She in her genetics has everything to produce all shades of life, all quality of life. The dark-skinned woman has it all. That doesn't make her superior, but that is something to acknowledge that in her, she has everything that life has to offer. And for a wicked generation who is looking to keep us down, they fear the power of the dark-skinned woman. When a dark-skinned woman is confident in herself and she walks in all that is God in her, and she makes no excuses being unapologetically her, unapologetically woman, there is no force on earth that can stop her. They'll try, but they can't. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that's all women. We call women, the ancients used to call the black woman God because her presence was magic. Her presence would captivate the attention of anyone who sees her. Her presence commanded the attention of mortal men. Y'all not hearing me. The only one worthy to be seen with her would be another god. But mortal men would be hypnotized by her. And they would either try to conquer her or try to partner with her. Because her presence, that's women. But black women, I know, I got some people who aren't black. Y'all gonna get mad, but it is what it is. Black women representing the original woman has an aura, has a presence in her that no society can ever take away. And let me be clear. In this country, in the U.S., we've only survived thus far because of black women. The black man had been castrated by society to such a degree that he would rather turn on his woman than fight his oppressor. I'm talking plain today. He'd rather turn on his woman than fight the oppressor. And the reason why the black man feels comfortable turning on his woman is because the love she has for him makes him think that she's weaker. Because of his trauma and his abuse and all that he went through, not making an excuse, simply creating the context for what's going on. His experience has caused him to think that the love she is showing him makes her weaker, because the white man ain't showing him no love. The white woman ain't showing him no love. And yes, I'm speaking in general. There are obviously some loving white men and women in society. So if you don't fit the narrative, don't get offended, right? I'm talking about historically as a whole. I won't apologize for that because historically as a whole, white people have not been showing black men any type of real love. Historically, as a whole, the white woman would lie on the black man and it would cost him his life. The white man would beat and lynch, and white women would lynch the black man too. White men and women is, still am abusive to the black man. The only one who is still loving the black man is the black woman. And because he is so beat up, because he's so broken down, the black man as a whole, because he's so broken down and he's looking for any way to manifest his masculinity, he turns on the very ones that love him. That's the condition that we're in today. I won't apologize for speaking the truth today. I'm not going to apologize for it because it needs to be said. Not to mention how we're over-sexualized. God forbid if our voluptuous, feminine, and secure in yourself. Listen, I'm gonna come back to that. Anita, because you're dropping game on that. Feminine and masculine energy are equal. That's right. Study yin plus yang. That's it. Oh, I was just about to go into the sun and the moon, but you already went there. It's the perfect balance. I was gonna go there, but you already went there, because the sun represents the masculine and the moon represents the feminine. I was literally just about to go there. And Anita brought us right there. And you need both. You don't need one or the other. You need both. See, the sun is focusing on getting us around, right? A year. It's trying to get it to a year. And that's really minimal. Because with the sun, I won't go there right now. I'll go there. I'm already there. The sun is marking a greater calendar than we know. All right. I'll drop this gem because I don't want to lose anybody, because we're in a good space right now. I don't want to lose anybody, but just look up the great year, and you will know that the positioning of the sun is very important as to where we are in the great year. To a degree, the sun also helps mark the seasons. Really, Aries doesn't. Spring doesn't start until the sun is located in Aries, right? The moon helps us mark the days and the months. That's what the moon helps us with. And the moon pulls on the water. The moon represents the subtle energy, right? The sun is very direct. Boom. The moon is very subtle energy, and that represents, it's not weak energy. It's subtle energy. It's the energy in the background. Is why we say things like behind a strong black man is a strong black woman, because the subtle support of this woman magnifies the strength of this man. Part of the reason why being married is one of the recommended things for success. If you read any book about getting rich, they recommend getting married. Why? Because when masculine and feminine energy comes together, there is a power. And don't get me started into so-called sex magic. There is so much that we can discuss. and I'm probably going to have to make it a series, because we're already my instance already kind of burning out. But men, I need our men to step up and embrace masculine energy again. That's really what I want to deal with tonight, probably for the next 10 minutes, and I'm going to wrap up. Men, well, I'll deal with it, but I gotta also say this. When dealing with attraction, you need to have polar opposites of the same energy in order for there to be attraction. I'm gonna say it again, because people like to say opposites attract, which is true, but opposites of the same energy attract, right? Because light and darkness are opposites, but they're opposites on opposite sides. Within light, there are opposites, and those attract. And so atoms are attracted to atoms, right? But they have to be opposite in charge to attract, or they have to be able to create an opposite charge to attract. It's not a science class, so I won't go into covalent and ionic bonds, but the stuff is deep when you apply it to higher sciences, when you apply it to actually everyday life. And so women being the ones who create the conditions by default, and remember what I said about the word women being the ones who create the experience. A woman is only going to magnify and respond to the energy you bring her. Y'all about to get mad at me because y'all know some aggressive women, right? Y'all know how she's dealing with you as a man is contingent to how you're dealing with her. Let me pause. I'm gonna take a pause. And some of you men, you're making excuses about why you can't find a good woman. And as a man, I would argue, so DM me, I would argue you can't find a good woman because you're not a good man. I would argue that. Because if you're a good man, good women will be attracted to you. I would argue that. Your masculine energy would speak to her feminine energy, and she would respond accordingly. The problem is, instead of becoming a better man, because of your insecurities, because of your traumas, because of your experience, instead of becoming a better man, you want to minimize the woman in order for you to feel good. When in reality, if you recognize that I can actually become better, and if I become better, then I would attract better, you would find yourself on a different path. You would find yourself, because all of this doesn't have to be sexual. I probably do need to say that. When I'm talking about attraction, I'm not just talking sex. See, the Western world focused on sex. Everything is sexual in the Western world. I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about straight relationship. Some of y'all men, you argue you don't have no good female friends because you're not a good man. I'm trying to help you understand that you have abandoned the positive qualities of masculine energy that would cause a positive feminine woman to be attracted and safe around you. You've abandoned those. I don't know if it was because of the music you're listening to, if it was because your daddy was no good, if it was because of some traumas in your past. But there is a point where you have to be honest with yourself and realize I've been less than. And because I've been less than, I've been attracting less than. Let me give you some Bible so that, just to ease some of y'all conscious. When first thing God did when making Eve, and I'm definitely going to have to make this a series because I don't want to, we'll be here all night. When God made Eve, listen to what I'm about to say. God made Eve out of the material of Adam. Y'all not hearing me now. Adam's equal, Eve, was a reflection of Adam. Eve was not less than, and her name wasn't Eve until after the fall. For those Bible scholars, I know she was just called woman. I know. I'm just trying to teach a lesson. Eve was Adam's equal because Eve was made up of the same stuff Adam was made up of. Eve received the same breath Adam received. When Adam looked at Eve, he recognized himself. Y'all, I need y'all to catch what I just said. And so the problem is the women that are surrounding you are mere reflectors of who you are in some shape, form, or fashion. Is it absolute? No, it's not absolute. I don't deal with absolutes. I'm speaking in general. And so if you started manning up, which I'm gonna have to talk about next week apparently because I don't have time today. If you started manning up, if you started embracing decisiveness, if you started embracing assertiveness, if you started embracing being an overcomer and not a predator but a conqueror, because there's a difference. Not an abuser, but a warrior, because there's a difference, right? If you embrace the positive attributes of masculinity and made that who you were, you couldn't even there'll be so many women that just want to be around you because they feel safe around that type of energy. Positive masculine energy is safe. They know that this man won't take advantage of me. If somebody tries to attack me, this man will rise up and protect me. This man will support me. And so I can be free now to create a loving environment when this man is around. That would be your narrative. Look, I ain't got nothing but good things to say about all the women around me. And my queen, I ain't got nothing but great things to say about her. No, she is the water to my ship. Y'all hear what I'm saying? She is the color to my art. Everything I touch, she makes it better. I ain't got nothing but good things to say about her. I can say with all as humbly as possible, God blessed me with her because I deserve a woman like her. I'm as humbly as I can possibly say it. It was the grace of God for me to become this type of man, but the man that I am is worthy to be the king of such a queen. And let me make it abundantly clear. If for whatever reason I would fail to step up to be the man I'm supposed to be, she would do everything in her power to remind me of who I am. But God forbid if I ever refuse to become the man that God intended for me to become, she would be more than right to leave me in the pit that I chose. Because she's so amazing that there's no way I could stay in that pit lest I chose it for myself. That's the power of feminine energy. That's the power of this nurturing life energy. I'll take it further. I was graced to be the man that I am because my mother was that awesome. My mom was such a queen that her love overshadowed every attack of the enemy. My mom was such a goddess that her prayers rattled the very throne of God, to the point where he had to stand up and intervene on my behalf. That's the queen that I come from. If it wasn't for my mother, I couldn't be the man that I am today. I want to make it abundantly clear. That is the power of feminine energy. And a lot of you guys, you are messing up. You're messing up because you think they're supposed to be sex objects, and you're treating the pearls as if they're gravel of some sort. You don't even recognize the jewels of women. Most of these women, look, a lot of y'all women, y'all need to stop entertaining these clowns. These clowns is crazy. Can you touch on how colonialism encourages African men to be passive or toxic to get ahead in this social system? Oh, I'll touch on that in a little bit. Absolutely, Brother Mike. I will touch on that a little bit. I touched on it a little bit, but I'll touch on it a little bit more. Because in the colonial system, let me put the comment back up. In this colonial system, the white man is trying to be God. Can I make it plain? The white man in this colonial system is trying to be God. That's why they made Jesus white. That's why they whitewashed all of ancient history, because they're trying to become God. They know they're not God. They know that they come from a mutation of a lack of civilization, sunlight, and nutrition. They know this, but they develop brute strength because that's how they were able to survive amongst the animals. Look, y'all can get offended, but this is facts. The white man developed brute strength, and that was his coping mechanism and his survival tactic against the animals of the caves. He had to grow thick hair and thick skin to survive the treacherous winters of the European mountains. And I want to be clear, the white man is a mutated black man. The so-called white man, because black and white is all made up constructs anyway. But the so-called white man is a mutated black man. The so-called European, they're mutated Africans. They're mutated melanated people who were removed for whatever reason away from their original place and had to adapt and mutate in order to survive, which shows the strength of melanated people. The problem is their lack of melanin, not pigmentation, but melanin, and I don't have time to go into that right now. But y'all could DM me. The lack of melanin caused them to forget how to respond to spiritual things. That's why every society they set up is so wicked. And so to fast forward to the colonial system that we're in now, the white man has convinced the black man that in order to survive in this system, the black man has to become like the white man. And because he removed the black man from his language, removed him from his culture, removed him from his spirituality, he has uprooted the black man to where now he can download whatever he wants, at least he thought, into the black man. What he did not know is the melanin runs deep in black men, and our DNA is our ancestral land. And so though we were removed physically from where we come from, you cannot take it out of us genetically. And so they tried to beat us, and they were beating us, and some black men in fact fell. And they drunk the Kool-Aid, and they're trying to be just like the white man to get ahead. They're denying all of their culture. They're applying all of the white man's tactics to the point that black women say black men are the white men of the black community, which breaks my heart, but I completely understand. But some of us black men, we realize the way of the white man is not the righteous way. The way of the white man is not the way of God. And so we have not adopted the way of the white man. So what the white man does is he demonizes us free black men who realize that all he's trying to do is take advantage of our community. He demonizes us, and he programs society to look at the black man as the villain. He programs society through movies, through music, through all of the sensories. That's why I don't watch TV. I'm very selective about the TV I watch. I stream more than I watch. I'm very careful because the way the imageries that they send to program and brainwash us essentially is the reason why black men are always so attacked. And so black men as a survival tactic, even in Africa, if I talk about West Africa in particular, they would maintain their African names, and y'all know what I'm saying. They'll maintain their African name, but they'll take on a European name as a survival mechanism because the white man is only comfortable with himself. The white man is not comfortable with the black man. The black man is intimidating because he knows that if the black man was to ever do to the white man what he's done to the black man, the white man would not survive. Talking in general, please don't get offended. Facts are facts. And so this colonial system is teaching black. So what they did in the US, they convinced us that money is the goal. And so the black man in the US is chasing after money, realizing that money is not the answer. As long as us as black men, as long as we make money our focal point, and I want to be clear, I'm not about this broke life. I'm not about this broke life. Not at all. But if you think obtaining money is enough, no offense to this brother, but you'll end up like Kanye West. No offense to that brother. I'm praying for that brother. I hope one day me and him get to have a chat. But his money ain't helping him. And his circle ain't helping him. He thinks he's enlightened, but he's confused. He's lost. He has no idea the trap that he's in. And it's going to take our prayers, and an act of the Most High to wake him up out of this sunken place that he's in. Watch the movie Get Out. You'll understand what I'm saying. Social media, in terms of TV personalities, has destroyed the image of the black man without question, and the image of the black woman. They overly sexualize the black woman. And I want to be abundantly clear. There's nothing wrong with a black woman being sexy. Can I keep it 1,000? Ain't nothing wrong with that. I praise God that she got the curves that she has. Hallelujah. It's beautiful to look at. There's a problem when all you see is sex when you look at a black woman. That is where you've gone perverted. Being attracted to a black woman, that's completely natural. It actually makes perfect sense. You should be attracted to the goddess in front of you. But to think that this goddess is only good for sex, oh no, we're not going to minimize our women like that. We're not going to minimize our women like that. Our women are way too valuable to just become sex slaves for men. I rebuke that in Jesus' name. I rebuke that in the name of the Messiah. We will not minimize our women. Our women are the backbone to civilization. And we need to honor and protect her. Louis Farrakhan said we need to be ready to kill for our black women, and I support that 1,000%. My mom don't like when I say that. When I tell my mom I'll take a life for her, she don't like that. She don't like when I talk like that. But I just hope she knows that I'm very serious. Y'all mess with my mother, I will take your life. It's not. It's premeditated. No, it's an act of passion. I lost my mind in that moment. I didn't know what I was doing, officer. It was an act of passion. Don't mess with me and mine. Don't mess with me and mine. As a man's man, as a man who has embraced his masculinity, I will protect black women at all costs. At all costs. I will first listen to what I'm about to say, because I'm gonna end here, but this is a good point to end. I will first protect the feminine energy within me. That means I will guard my own emotions. I will guard my own creativity. I will learn how to love and honor the feminine energy within me. Because if I can't love the feminine energy within me, I can't love the feminine energy in front of me. And this is where black men are falling short. They have abandoned their masculine energy and they have confused their feminine energy. And so I hate to end it there on a cliffhanger, but we're going to have to end it there. I won't have a moment of meditation right now, but we'll pick up on this next week. For those of you who are here local, we'll meet up next week at 8 o'clock. I will give you the address if you want it. And we can continue the conversation live, but I will be online 6:30 Central Time next week, and we'll continue this conversation about masculine and feminine energy. We're going in. We're going in, and I'm going to make this as plain as possible. If you have any questions throughout the week, please feel free to DM me or to bring them next week if you so choose. But I'm gonna end it here so that this is not a 2-hour session, and you are officially dismissed. Peace.